Hello everyone, Trophy Wine Hunter. Welcome back to my YouTube channel. Today I'm doing a review of a recent trophy wine night I had with my buddies. Again, they're so generous and kind. They went and brought all the wines. I did actually bring some wines, but they said, no, tonight is on us, and so please just enjoy yourself. And so all these wines were their wines, and I was so fortunate that they were willing to share them with me. Short video of the tremendous lineup, and we were at Red Star Seafood Restaurant, one of my favorite Chinese restaurants. One of my friends knows that I'm a big fan of Ace of Spades Champagne. This is Armand and Brignac, and although it's non-vintage, it's like Krug, where it is a combination of many vintages. And because my friend has so many bottles of Ace of Spades, we kind of drink them at different times. So this bottle he's actually had in his cellar for 10 years. And I compared it to another bottle that I reviewed where it was about 5 years and also new Ace. So it all tastes a little bit different and it does, it's kind of really interesting to do that kind of tasting. So my notes on this wine was that it was still youthful, and it can still age, but this time it was a little bit more orange peel and kumquats on the aftertaste, more towards apricots and not as creamy as a new bottle. So my rating was 91 points as compared to a brand new Ace of Spades, which is a little bit more creamier and a little bit sweeter. And then I also had a Ace of Spades that was aged 5 years, about 2 years ago, and that one to me it was more like candied apples and caramelized and a little bit of tropical fruits. Next we had Krug Champagne in Magnum, and this was the 164th edition, which was released somewhere between 2008 and 2010. Neat because Krug, there's a barcode that you can kind of scan and it will tell you which edition it is and tell you a lot about the bottle. So this one is a blend of 48% Pinot Noir, 35% Chardonnay, and 17% Pinot Meunier. It's 127 wines blended from 11 different years, the youngest being 2008 and the oldest 1990. So a nice compare and contrast in terms of style to Ace of Spades, which is blended from 3 years. Love that they give you so much detail on their website. You can, geek out how it's put together and things like that. But most importantly, from my perspective, it's the taste. And I love Krug. My notes on this was that it was very elegant and balanced at this point. Really creamy with apricots and pears on the palate, and then almonds and brioche on the aftertaste. Really enjoyed this wine. Again, Krug and Ace of Spades are two of my favorite wines that I like to drink. They're contrasted in styles. I believe Krug is a little bit drier in terms of the dosage, but I like them both. And so my rating for this wine was 95 points. Next wine is Chateau Margaux's 2015 Pavilion Blanc, which is their white wine, 100% Sauvignon Blanc. And I've had this probably 4 or 6 times in the last little while, so I'm fairly familiar with this wine. Just goes to show you do have different ratings, different days. It's always between like 93 and 95 points for me, but there is variation. And so the last time I had it, I think I would rate it a little bit higher. This time, I thought it was really remarkable that you can get the 100% Sauvignon Blanc wine. That's really, the acidity is quite tame. You've got citrus and melons on the palate and a little bit of caramel in the aftertaste. Why I think I rated it a little bit lower this time is perhaps it was a little bit too cold. It was in an ice bucket for quite a while before we drank it. And so perhaps with this wine, I would suggest maybe taking it out have it chilled, but maybe putting it on the table and just letting it warm to room temperature. I think it actually makes it a little bit more aromatic, in fact. Next wine is the 2000 Cheval Blanc, another favorite wine of mine. The Cheval Blancs, I love them in terms of they're so diverse in terms of their stylistically and kind of how they present. So this blend is 53% Merlot, 47% Cabernet Franc. I know a lot of people love the 2000 vintage in Bordeaux. For me personally, I think it's slightly overpriced for what it is, at least from my perspective. When I drink it nowadays, I actually find a lot of the wines are pretty much at their peak. And although it has been almost, almost 25 years, but I really think they're kind of peaking. And the original hype with the 2000 vintage, I don't think has been sustained. It's still a great vintage, no doubt about it. From my perspective, this wine is a good Cheval. It's not the most powerful Cheval out of there, but it's really nice to drink. And at this point, it is fully mature in my opinion. So my notes, medium-bodied, very relaxing with currants and figs on the palate. It's a relatively soft and mild Cheval, but with most Chevals, got that smoothness and the chocolatey aftertaste. I'm surprised by the really good acidity, and that brings up really vibrant fruits, more particularly dark fruits. I think it's fully mature, and my rating is 93 points. Next, we had two Chateau Pavies together, the 2003 and 2009. So this is going to kind of highlight why it's so important to take notes. So in this occasion, I thought both wines were quite tight. And so I'll give you my tasting note for the wine, the 2003. It was very powerful, but I thought it needed more time to show better. Lots of dark fruit, but I think it didn't show the subtle qualities because it wasn't decanted well enough. And so we basically decanted, I think, less than an hour. And so I went back to my other notes. I've had previous notes on this wine, always 95 points and above. And in the first situation, I decanted an hour and a half and said it could still use more aeration. And the second time, I decanted 4 hours and thought it was incredible. So I think this is very useful to have those type of notes and to make sure that you have reasons why certain wines don't show well at a certain time. So now I'll remember the next time when I serve an 03 needs at least 4 hours of decanting. That was against the 2009 Pavie. Again, minimal decanting, and to me, even stronger, almost to a point where it's punishing. You could taste the figs and boysenberries and the fruitcake finish, but really not ready, in my opinion. So both wines needed more decanting. You can see the core is really nice. 93 points for both of them, but still very useful to taste in different settings and different situations. The last wine was a dessert wine, and my wine of the night is Kracher's 1999 TBA number 8. And you might say trophy, you've got like Pavie, you've got Cheval Blanc, you've got Krug. Why would you choose an Austrian dessert wine as your wine of the night? To me, it was like so thrilling to see this wine because I've never seen this before. And it's just a really neat experience. So Kracher is one of the top wineries of Austria. This is an aged wine, dessert wine that's made from the Welschriesling grape, which is different from the Riesling grape. So Welschriesling is generally fairly neutral and kind of bland, unless you make it with, like Kracher does, in a dessert style. So this is kind of TBA, which is the very Trocken Baron Roselese, which is really fairly sweet. Really delicious wine. We've got 10% alcohol, but it is fermented and matured in big casks for 22 months. So really interesting because it's got that dessert kind of feel to it, but kind of like a Sauterne develops some nuttiness. So for me, it had plums and apricots on the palate, followed by butterscotch and caramel on the aftertaste. Really thought it was a great balance of the acidity and the kind of the weight of the wine. So my rating was 96 points. Hope you've enjoyed this video. I really enjoyed my tasting with my friends. Until next time, happy drinking.